myself, Dr. Vikas Sharma. I am currently working as an associate professor in the Department of Pharmacy at IMT College of Pharmacy. So, today I am sharing with you the lecture on the basis of the UPTU syllabus, the instrumental method of analysis. Basically, it is a topic in the final year course of the B Pharmacy. And as we all know, because it is the final year of pharmacy, so we have to deal with something very special about the things. The pharmacy course, as we all know, dealt with the drugs, and to identify these drugs in their particular form, that what is the structure of that drug, what exactly the functional groups present in the particular drug. So this information we should know only on the basis of spectroscopy, and there are different type of spectroscopy like UV visible spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy, and NMR spectroscopy, mass spectroscopy. So these are the various kind of spectroscopy. So today I am here to present the spectroscopy, the UV visible spectroscopy. This is the basic type of spectroscopy in which we, as the name indicates, we will use either the UV light or the visible light based upon our requirement. Like UV light and the visible light, they both are different in nature on the basis of their lights, that is the wavelength of that particular light. The UV light, it corresponds to 200 to 400 nanometer, while visible light corresponds to 400 to 800 nanometer. So let me start this presentation. So first of all, let me define the word spectroscopy. What exactly the word spectroscopy means? So as you can see in the slide also, that it is a branch of science that utilize the electromagnetic radiations which when interact with the matter. Now in our case, because we are the pharmacy professionals and most of our studies dealt with the only with the drugs. So in this case, our case, the matter will be the drug or drug on the atomic level, you can say. So any drug when interacted with a particular kind of electromagnetic radiation, these study or the result of this particular study is known as spectroscopy. So spectroscopy, again I can say that spectroscopy is a branch of science that deals with the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. So in our case, the electromagnetic radiation will be UV visible light, that is ultraviolet light or visible light, and the matter will be the drug particles or the drugs. So any spectrum that will be obtained after the interaction of EMR with the matter, that particular spectrum or the examination of that particular spectrum will be known as spectroscopy. So that is about the definition of spectroscopy. Now, the type of radiation which absorbed by a particular compound, the nature of the type of the radiation, the amount of the radiation which has been absorbed, these both things basically define the nature of the compound as well as the concentration of the compound in a particular solution. Means with the help of UV visible spectroscopy, we can define which drug is present. Okay, means which drug is present. Like if we say example like paracetamol or ibuprofen, we have two particular drugs and we have the mixture of that particular drug. So we can really estimate that whether there is a particular paracetamol in the present sample which is in the higher amount, or what is the ratio of that particular drugs. Similarly, the concentration, if we have a solution of these two, the concentration of the solution we can determine with the help of UV visible spectroscopy. Now let me understand the principle of the UV visible spectroscopy. Now this is a prism. and this is a white light. You must have heard about the phenomena of Vibgyor. Okay, that is in our daily routine. You must have seen the rainbow. The rainbow has the 7 colors that has been indicated in the form of Vibgyor: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. So these 7 colors are basically arranged in this fashion only on the basis of their wavelength, which indicates the violet has the lowest wavelength while the red has the highest wavelength. Okay, here as the name indicates, visible light means the daily light or the sunlight you have seen, that is basically the visible light. Now whenever the visible light pass through a particular prism, it will disperse into the 7 different colors, that is known as Vibgyor, and this color or the arrangement of these colors in a particular fashion will be known as spectrum. Now you can see in this diagram that this is the 400 starting range, 400 nanometer the wavelength, and this is the highest range, that is 800 nanometer. So this is the frequency and this is the lower frequency. So do not confuse the wavelength with the frequency. I am basically defining here the wavelength. You can see if the wavelength is lower, then the frequency must be higher, because mu is equal to 1 upon lambda. That is, wavelength is inversely proportional to the frequency. So if we have the lowest frequency, then we have the highest wavelength, or if we have the highest frequency, then we have the lowest wavelength. So as you can see also, this is the violet light which has the lowest, or you can say highest wavelength, lowest wavelength, that is 400 nanometer, while the red light which has the highest wavelength, that is 800 nanometer. Here you can specify these colors on the basis of their wavelengths also. The violet corresponds to 400 to 420 nanometer. Similarly, indigo corresponds to 420 to 440 nanometer. Blue corresponds to 440 to 490, and so on. All these radiations have basically different type of wavelengths. Yeah. So this is another type of representation of this particular thing. I will discuss this particular diagram in the instrumentation part of UV visible spectroscopy. So next is the absorption spectroscopy. Okay. Now this is an important part, that there are generally the two phenomena. The first is the absorption and the second one is emission. And you must be curious about the thing, how these phenomena is related to the spectroscope. Now whenever an electromagnetic radiation interacts with a particular matter, as the name indicates, the interaction of EMR with the particular matter, with the drug. So whenever electromagnetic radiation interact with a particular matter, there will be an absorption of energy, which makes there is some disruption in the atomic level or the subatomic level of the particular drug or the matter, and the electron released from the ground state and goes to the higher state. Okay, so whenever the electron moves from the lower state or lower orbital to the higher orbital, it will be known as absorption, while when it comes back from higher state to the lower state, it will be known as emission. Now these are the two phenomena, as I have discussed, that absorption and emission. You can clearly see that whenever light, in our case, because we are dealing with the UV visible, so whenever a UV visible light falls on a particular matter, the electron goes to the higher state, and this will be known as absorption. Similarly, when there is emission, in that case the electron comes back from the higher state to the ground state with the release of the energy in the form of light, that is Hp. And this gap of energy means whatever the energy has been absorbed by the particular matter to move from the ground to higher state or the excited state will be known as delta E. That is the change in energy. This is the some type of energy, say 1 kilojoule, and this will be the 2 kilojoule or 3 kilojoule. So the difference will be 2 kilojoule. So this is the amount of energy absorbed by a particular drug. Okay, and that corresponds to basically the nature of the compound also. So we will study about it in the later part of the lecture. Now this is another representation of the absorption and emission of a radiation. You can clearly see that absorption comes and there is emission, then goes to the higher and the lower state. Now there are two different pathways, the absorption and the emission pathways. Now I have already told you that there are energy gap, and this energy gap, this is the electronic ground state. These are the excited state or the higher state, S1 represented by S1, S2 and excited SN. SN means up to the infinity. So these are the excited vibrational states, as you can see. So whatever there is the difference between the two states corresponds to a particular amount of energy. You can see the graph also, S0 to S1. This is the S0 to S1, that is red line. Then S0 to S2. This one S0 to S2. Again, this is a brown line. So you can indicate in a particular graph also. Now, origin of our electronic spectra. So you must be thinking that how a particular drug gave a particular type of spectrum, or there might be a question that whether all the drug molecules will give a particular kind of spectrum, or there are something common in between that particular spectrum, particular molecule that should be present in a molecule to give a spectrum. Yes, you are right, because the presence of chromophore in a particular drug is a necessary factor to produce a kind of spectra. Now, this is the origin of electronic spectra also. Now I think you have understood that there is a excitation, electronic excitation movement movement of electron from the ground state to higher state. Now the word comes the chromophore. Now chromophore means any group of atoms that absorb light, whether or not a color is thereby produced. Now let me clear one thing. The chromo means the color and the phore means the group. So when there was the discovery of chromophore, it was hypothesized that every chromophore must produce a visible light so that we can call it as a eligible chromophore. But nowadays we have seen that there are some chromophores which produces spectra, but they are not producing any kind of light. So that is basically the phenomena of a chromophore. So any group of atom that absorb light, that is still now it is eligible, but a color is produced, it is somewhat disturbing. So the color might produce or may not be produced in case of a chromophore. Now this is the two kind of orbitals. You must have heard about these kind of HOMO orbitals, that is highest occupied molecular orbital and the LUMO orbital, lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. Again, the word corresponds to the electronic transition, that is promotion of electron from ground state to the high energy state or excited state, which are basically known as HOMO and LUMO orbitals. Now, the specificity, or you can say the configuration of the chromophores. These are the biological chromophores. You can see the peptide bonds and the amino acids present in the proteins. Now, if we think about a particular kind of drug, say paracetamol. Paracetamol is as we all know, that it is an anti-inflammatory drug, and if I draw the structure of paracetamol, then it must be that it has a compound like it has a functional group, that is NHCOCH3. Now NH group has a bonding of N single bond H, that is a particular covalent bond. Similarly, CO corresponds to C double bond O, that is a carbonyl group. It is a double bond. Similarly, CS3 again has a 3 covalent bonds. Now we know that a particular bond is basically made up of the sharing of electron between the two atoms. Like in the NH bond, there is a sharing of one electron by the nitrogen and sharing of another electron by the hydrogen. Now the sharing of two electron makes a bond single bond. Now again, if you go back to your school level, then you must have heard about the pi orbital, sigma orbital. Okay, now in case of sigma orbital, in case of covalent bond, we all know that there is a sigma bonding. Okay, so in the next slide, okay, yeah. So these are the basically molecular orbital: sigma, pi, n, pi star, and sigma star. See, this is the energy level. These are basically the atomic orbitals. Okay, yeah, molecular orbitals or atomic orbitals. These are the occupied levels. These are the unoccupied levels, and this is the atomic orbital which have basically falls in between them. Now sigma electrons, yeah, sigma orbitals basically are the electrons which are participating in the bond formation in the covalent bond. Pi basically in the double bond. Pi share is in the double bond. We all know these things. And N is basically the lone pair of atoms which are means present with a particular atom, but they either part of a particular bond or they remain itself on a particular atom. Like in the case of oxygen, we have 3 lone pairs. One might or two might share a bond, okay, but one lone pair is already there in the particular oxygen atom, so that will be known as n orbital. Okay. As I also earlier mentioned that there is an electronic transition. Now assume if there is a covalent bond on which the electromagnetic radiation, that is UV light or visible light, falls, then there is excitation of electron from the sigma orbital and it can move to the either to the pi star or to the sigma star. Okay, based upon the how much energy has been absorbed by the particular compound. Means if that particular compound absorbed less energy, then it will move up to the pi star, while on the increase in the energy gap, it will move to the sigma star. So these are the basically electronic transitions you can see in case of alkenes. These are the characteristic features of these things. Alkenes, there will be a sigma to sigma star transition. In case of carbonyls, there will be sigma to pi star, that is sigma to pi star. Similarly, in unsaturated compounds, there will be pi to pi star, means the double bonds are there, so pi to pi star. And in case of halogens, oxygen, which have the lone pair of atom, nitrogen, sulfur, the transition will be from N2, that is unoccupied orbitals, atomic orbital, to sigma star. Okay, and similarly in case of carbonyls, there will be the transition from N to pi star. Okay, now let me go back to the previous slide. Yeah, so we were there in this. See, this is the spectra. This is an electromagnetic spectrum. You can see all kind of electromagnetic radiations here. This is the gamma rays, X-rays, UV rays. The small yellow phase is basically the visible light. IR, that is infrared, microwave, and the radio waves. In case of spectroscopy, we generally deals with these three: UV, visible, and IR, and sometimes we have also dealt with the radio waves also. So this has the, you can say, highest energy, okay, and this has the highest wavelength. So on the basis of this, this is the electromagnetic spectrum. You can see the UV radiation and electron excitations. I have already told you about this. There is a molecular bonding, non-bonding, and anti-bonding orbitals denoted with the sigma. You can say bonding orbitals, non-bonding, and anti-bonding orbitals. Similarly, the energy corresponds. Okay, if the energy absorbs in this region 100 to 350, then it corresponds to the UV region. While if energy absorbs in the case of 350 to 700 nanometer, then it corresponds to the visible region. This is the spectra basically formed. Now again, the same thing, the UV spectra, when a sample is irradiated, there will be the spectrum of UV radiation, then electronic transition with the energy of UV band, it will be absorbed. Again, the remaining UV light passed to the sample and is observed, and the residual obtained in the gap called the absorption spectrum. Now, let me move to the next slide. Okay, this has been okay. Yeah, this is the Beer-Lambert law. Okay, uh, Beer-Lambert law, basically the combination of two different law. One is the Beer law and the Lambert law, and it basically establishes a relationship between the absorbance and the concentration. Means how much UV light has been absorbed by a particular drug will basically define how much or the concentration of that particular drug in the solution. Okay, I am repeating it again, that the amount of absorbance absorbed by the amount of light absorbed by a particular drug will be directly proportional to the concentration of the particular drug. Means if you take a solution of X concentration of a drug, then amount of light, either the UV light or the visible light, which when falls on the particular solution, some of the light will be absorbed, and the amount of light absorbed, you must have remembered the delta E. That delta E corresponds to the actual concentration of the drug. Now, this has been described by the simple expression that A is equal to ABC. The A is the absorbance, that is the capital A. Similarly, the small a is molar absorptivity, B is the path length, and the C is the concentration. The concentration type, I think it has been cleared. The path length. The path length is there is a sample holder, which we, in the case of spectroscopy, generally known as cuvette. The width of that cuvette basically defines the path length. Means how much the length, how much is the width of that particular cuvette define the path length for a particular EMR. Means whenever the light passes through the particular cuvette, then starting point of the cuvette and the end point, that is the emission from where the light has been emitting from the cuvette. These particular width of the cuvette will define the path length in centimeter. Now, molar absorptivity, also known as extension coefficient, the path length. Again, I have seen that the diameter of the cuvette or the sample holder, this is the path length. Okay, and the concentration. Okay, the C is the concentration. Now, this is the instrumental analysis. These are the instrumentation and application of the spectrophotometry. Now, I think that's all from today, and we will catch you later in the another lecture. So, thanks for today. Thank you very much for the patience listening. Thank you.